Boom! We are live, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to the Life as a Chad YouTube channel. And I thank all of you for being here, wherever you may be. And of course, however you may be listening. So, I actually just found out about this only a couple of minutes ago. And of course, this is about Steven Crowder. I've done a video about him in the past with or a couple actually, with regards to his separation from the Daily Wire, I believe. And now we're going to be discussing his divorce. This information was just apparently revealed to the public of late. The only reason why I saw it was after watching some other content, and the other content made reference to this, and I thought that I would look into it, since this channel, my channel, of course, has to do with politics, relationships, anything really I find interesting. And this I find exceedingly interesting. This, I've told you guys, probably the most frequent video I do has to do with the concept of marriage, the idea of marriage, especially coming from a Christian perspective like myself. And this whole Steven Crowder situation illustrates just how tough it is as a man in the West to be married today. There are just pitfalls everywhere. And ultimately, not only is the system against you politically, the government, society, but it's also, and you know, Jay Dyer has alluded to this, in the right wing, in conservatism, you have a sector, I would say more the neocons, which Steven Crowder tends to be, who tend to be these like lover boys of capitalism. And in fairness, I used to be as well. But while there are some great things that come with capitalism, such as the most amount of people not being in poverty in recorded history, things like that, enormous amounts of wealth. One of the drawbacks to capitalism is, of course, people becoming more individualistic, people leaving the family, and people in general struggling to truly be fulfilled. In modern times, especially when it comes to women, the goal above all else is to be happy, is to be happy. When you watched Fresh and Fit, the whatever podcast, every time these chicks talk about relationships, they always talk about it from the perspective of happiness, their happiness level. What will give them the greatest happiness levels? Whether you want to say dopamine, whatever it is, but they always use the term happiness. What makes them happy? And in previous times, people didn't really have time to think about one's happiness because they were just struggling to fucking survive, let alone being able to think, this morning, will it make me more happy to go get a Jamba Juice or to go to Chipotle? Well, what will I be more happy? And so what will I be more happy with? So as a result, you have, as I said, especially with women, this constant yearning for more happiness. And it's an impossible proposition because there's only so much happiness that one can get. And personally, I don't even believe that the natural state of human beings bestowed to us from God is happiness. Life is one big struggle. It is one big, just trying to get through it and survive. Not in like a sad, depressing way, but if you truly think from your day to day about the moments that you're happy, it's few and far between. It's very rare because human beings are not meant to satisfy that thirst all the time. They're just not. So just going back to, I don't want to go down that path too much, but with Steven Crowder, and we don't know a ton of what happened with that situation, but from what I know with Steven Crowder, and if you're not aware of this, his wife, he used to always brag about how his wife was a former model. So she's definitely one of those chicks. And when I used to pay attention to Steven Crowder's show, I do not anymore, which is why I was not aware of this bullshit. He made mention to all of these health issues that his wife was going through and things like that. So I don't know if that gave way to infidelity. He says that there's no, and I will play part of his clip. He says there was no infidelity on either side. It sounds like, from what we can gather now, right now, as if ultimately his wife just wanted out of the marriage. And it wasn't specifically because of adultery or anything like that. And it's like, for me, guys, how many more fucking examples do we need? You have Tom Brady not being able to hold down his wife. You have Brad Pitt struggling to hold down his wife or wives. You have Johnny Depp getting shit on his bed. He has a chick shitting on his bed. You have Steven Crowder, one of the most famous, I would say he's definitely top 3. Over the past 10 years, he's definitely top 3, if not number 1. Most popular political figure, left or right. He's top 5 for sure. His net worth is probably very solid. You know, he's in shape. He's not a terrible looking guy. He's not the best looking guy, but he's certainly not terrible. I can think of way worse looking individuals, especially in politics. And even he is getting left by his wife. And just from the perspective of being a conservative, I cannot tell you how frustrating and annoying it has become that we continue to find out and have all of these situations occur on the right. It's like you have these people who on the right preach about traditionalism and conserving, and, you know, the family unit is so important, which I agree it is. Yet their wives leave them left, right, and center. And if I had to guess, now I'm not taking blame from Steven Crowder's wife here, but if I had to guess, I would say, from what we can gather from Steven, he, much like many guys that are conservatives, was probably a nerd growing up, probably did not get very much attention. He finds some success as an adult, gets better pick of the lot, but he was unable to develop those game. He was unable to develop game. That's my guess. And like so many guys on the right, they are so good at like 90% of things that are needed for a man to be successful in life, except for the last 10%, which is game and running game on a chick and being able to hold down a chick, because yes, that is a skill. And a lot of these guys, they pedestalize their women, and at first it works, but then down the line, the chick doesn't like it, because women don't like that. They don't. It's not to say that you can't be nice to women every now and again and, you know, do some nice things every now and again. But if that is all you're doing, it's not going to work. And my guess is Steven Crowder struggled with game, and his money and all of his attributes and all that shit just wasn't, in the end, wasn't enough to compensate. And she left. So, you know, it's tough, but especially on the right and especially in politics, you have a bunch of these guys who were nerds growing up, and simply put, they just don't have fucking game. And I just don't know how much more evidence, because especially as an Orthodox Christian, I know a lot of guys who disagree with me on this. And, they always try and convince me that you must be married as a Christian. But I just don't, it's just not tenable, guys. It's just not. Look at all, how much more evidence do you need that the current state of things is just not conducive for a man in marriage? It's just not. But let's listen to a little bit of this. Let me make sure that the sound is on, because I know I've done that in the past. I've ended up having to delete the whole fucking video. Here we go.
Deepest personal failure. And just so you know, my opinions on parenting and families have not changed. Yes. Some issues out there that are circulating. It's never fun. But, well, I guess let me be clear here. I have been living with a proverbial boot on my neck for going on years now. Since 2021, I've been living through what has increasingly been a horrendous divorce. Now, let me say on the outset, to be clear, there is no infidelity, any kind of physical abuse at all on either side. And no, this was not my choice. My then wife decided that she didn't want to.
I'm sure it wasn't, Stephen. I'm sure it wasn't.
Be married anymore. And in the state of Texas, that is completely permitted. It's been the most heartbreaking experience of my life. What I consider to be...
I'm sure. Guys, I have seen this firsthand. And I always say, women are known in the West for being the ones that are more lovey-dovey, the more romantic. But I fully disagree with that. I think men, there's the saying, men love idealistically, whereas women love opportunistically. And I really do believe that. I'm sure he was heartbroken. I fucking guarantee that this is the hardest thing he's had to go through.
My deepest personal failure. And just so you know, my opinions on parenting and families.
Now, the good news for Stephen is he's going to have his pick of the lot, whereas his ex-wife, here in about 3 years, when she's fully hit the wall, all she'll have is his money, and she will never be able to find as high status of a man as Stephen. So she better lock it down here quick, because her time is running out very quickly, and they already have 2 kids. Think about that, guys. Think about that for a second. She's willing to leave and test the waters. This just shows you how opportunistically women love. She's willing to leave with 2 kids in fucking tow. And she's nowhere near as beautiful as she, once was in her early 20s.
Have not changed. I've always believed that children need a mom and a dad, that divorce is horrible. And I still believe that children need a mom and a dad and that divorce is horrible. But in today's legal system, my beliefs don't matter. In
You're
Texas,
right.
Divorce is permitted when one party wants it, period. So for well over a year, in the best interest as well as physical safety of my children, we've decided to keep this issue private.
All right, so that's pretty much it. He doesn't really go into too much more detail. I want to wrap this video up as well. I'll perhaps talk about this more another time. But there you guys have it. I mean, I don't even know what more information to add on this. I'm not surprised. This is the current state of things. It's terrible. It sucks. Even though I recognize this, I'm not sure that there's a good solution. If you're a man, maybe the solution is just realizing that this is a possibility and it is what it is, and fight to change it down the line in the political system. I don't know. Or you can accept it and not do it and not engage in it, even if you believe it's a sin. So, to not end up getting married, but still have relations with women. So I mean, honestly, guys, I don't know what the solution is here. It's not good either way. But this is not surprising. And this is just yet another example of enough not being enough, not being high value enough, not enough happiness, not enough this, not enough that, and the women leaving. All right, guys, like, comment, share, subscribe. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. I'm also going to be talking about Steven Crowder's situation with Dave Landau. We're going to be diving into that as well. A lot of heat towards Steven Crowder these days. Again, hit that subscribe button. And last but not least, DVAP, don't be a pussy willow. Facts or feelings, because your feelings just don't matter. Love you guys. See you kings next time. Peace.